The ruthless warrior.
And what business do you have with the king?
I offer information in exchange for his grace. Now, step aside.
You attempted a mutiny on the battlefield.
Whatever you have to say to the king, you will first say to me. Adriel brings important news.
I kneel at your feet.
Could actually kneel. That might help. I like how Joab doesn't even flinch. There you go, kneeling.
What if I had information that would prove my loyalty? I saw Samuel come to Bethlehem. I know which house he visited. I know who he anointed.
Does he say it's Eliab? No, it says it's Abinadab. Okay, that episode wasn't as good as previous ones. It wasn't the worst by far, but it had some issues. It felt like it was a little bit rushed. The scenes themselves were given time to breathe. They were fairly well done. They just felt a little bit disconnected. Like this episode didn't have a whole lot of direction. This felt like the episode that they wrote and did not give as much attention to in rewrites as others. A lot of times you can spot an episode like that, but it wasn't bad. I don't really have any complaints. There's a lot of mystery boxing going with it. It's mystery box that I don't feel like there's not going to be an answer. Like, not sure what Eshbal's plan is, but I'm not supposed to know what Eshbal's plan is. Not sure what's going on with the Edomite, but I'm not supposed to know. And I'm also really intrigued by the maid. There's a lot of mystery going on that, again, because the biblical narrative is not vague, but not super detailed. None of this is mentioned, and I'm curious what story they're going to tell with it, because when you do deal with something that is very familiar, you have to come up with some ways to make it a little bit more intriguing and exciting. Because, I mean, we know that David's going to make it, but they've really made us care for a lot of these characters. Like, I don't know how long Eliab lives. I don't know how long Abinadab lives. Why isn't it Abinadab? But, like, I know when Avner dies, I know when Saul dies, I know when Jonathan dies, I know that things get sad with Michal, I know Uriah's not going to die, we know David isn't going to die, but so they've done a really good job of making you care about a lot of these other characters and what they've got going on. You also know that there's a lot of, there's a number of battles that get fought between now and when David is crowned, and setting up a lot of intrigue about how those are going to start is also really fun. So I like what this episode did. I'm not 100% excited with how they did it. This is not one of the better written episodes, but it doesn't ruin the show or anything. It doesn't break anything. And I'm really enjoying a lot of these actors. They're doing very well. I'm liking David, like I said in the last season, because he was older and playing a younger character. Kind of iffy on him, but now I like how he is playing David at this point in his life. I'm really coming around on this actor. I like how he is doing it because he's very unassuming, which is pretty cool. He's not super charismatic and stuff, and he's doing a good job of growing, and the actor is doing a good job of showing himself progressing. He's carrying himself better, and it's slowly progressing. I've been on board with just about every other actor since the beginning. I'm not a huge fan of Jesse, but he hasn't really been inside of this, and the Philistine King, I mean, he was in this, but just, briefly flashed, but only two not great actors out of a cast this large. That is fun. And one thing that I really do hope that they do with this is, following the biblical narrative, people don't jump into bed with each other. And when that is the case, when people are acting restrained and not just sleeping around, that's how you actually build up sexual tension, because you can't release it, and you can actually make things pretty, not erotic, but sexy. And there isn't a whole lot of that in film and TV shows these days, because we know that they can just relieve the tension at any time. But this is actually a society and a situation and situations where they can't and they shouldn't. And having them inside of moments where you know that that's not going to be the case, but they could still push it. That's how you actually build sexual tension, and we really haven't seen much of that in a long time. And so, me 5 years ago would not have said this, but I hope that they actually kind of use that to their advantage, because Hollywood and filmmakers kind of need to relearn how they used to do that. Like, I really liked the scene with Jonathan and the nurse. It was sexy, for lack of a better phrase. And I was a little bit concerned that they were going to do something and have him, not be Jonathan. And I really hope that they don't do that. It's still possible. I don't know. You never know. But because it didn't go that way, and it didn't end that way, it was a really good scene, and I liked it. And it made it more tense, and you felt the longing more. So, looking forward to episode 4. You'll see me next time if you subscribe. Bye.